If you saw my EV news video yesterday, you will have seen that the car manufacturers making the biggest profits at the moment are those least invested in the electrification craze. Toyota, Mitsubishi, Mazda and Subaru have wisely decided not to be bullied into building EVs that nobody wants, and instead are continuing to build regular cars that people do want. It may well be the case that electric cars will eventually replace internal combustion engine cars, but that will never happen on the timeframes that governments are forcing on the auto industry and the long-suffering public. The reality, whether you like it or not, is that gas cars will be part of the mix for decades and decades to come, probably well into the second half of this century. All of those foolish brands that have promised to go all electric by a week next Tuesday will eventually realise their mistakes when losses mount and their profits evaporate. But some have retained their common sense, understanding that internal combustion cars will continue to be required for many, many years. And as other brands disappear, the market for these cars is now ripe for the picking. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer, now Sydney-based YouTuber. Please be sure to follow me on the usual socials for more content, links in the description, and there's a code on the screen. Scan that with your phone if you want to sign up for a weekly MGUY email. It'd be great to have you on board. It's fascinating to see how the auto manufacturing industry has diverged. One side has just accepted everything that governments have told it, how they need to go all electric immediately, that all gas cars will be banned by 2035, whether the public likes it or not. The other side, the smarter side in my view, know that when governments mandate something against the wishes of the public, it almost always spectacularly fails. So whilst giving some lip service to the mad EV mandates, they're continuing to develop the products they know that people will buy. In the end, unless we're in the Soviet Union, the market always wins. And until the market can see the benefit of electric cars, the EV mandates are doomed to fail. So it's great to see some of the Japanese brands continuing to research and develop internal combustion engines, but with an eye on a transition that will probably happen at some point, but on timeframes much, much longer than the nonsensical schedules governments are pushing. You can still do your bit for the climate by reducing emissions and improving efficiency, whilst building cars people actually want to buy, as the Telegraph reports. Toyota shuns electric cars with new generation of combustion engines. Latest engine designs focused on compatibility with battery technology and CO2 reduction. Toyota is to develop a new generation of petrol-fueled internal combustion engines in the car maker's latest bet against electric vehicles. In a joint press conference with Mazda and Subaru, the Japanese company on Tuesday unveiled prototype engines that it said would be smaller, more efficient and capable of burning eco-friendly fuels such as hydrogen. It said the engine is designed to be used in tandem with a battery-powered electric motor and is expected to be deployed in future hybrid and plug-in cars. Koji Sato, Toyota's chief executive, said the decision underlined Toyota's plan to cultivate diverse options to ensure reductions in CO2 emissions. Under its multi-pathway strategy, the company has been slower than some rivals to embrace electric vehicles, EVs, and has stressed the need for alternatives to be considered as well, such as hybrids, hydrogen fuel cell cars, synthetic fuels, and other low-carbon technologies. Akio Toyoda, the carmaker's chairman, in January warned the enemy is CO2 and that EVs were unlikely to ever capture more than 1/3 of the global market due to infrastructure constraints. On Tuesday, Chief Executive Mr. Sato echoed those comments, saying, "To become carbon neutral, what's most important is to reduce emissions. What we need is an engine that can efficiently use various types of fuel. The engine can't survive in its current form, it needs to change." And to be fair, that's probably true, but it's all about timing and market acceptance. This incremental development and shift towards other powertrains over an extended period makes complete sense, and manufacturers should be looking at improving efficiency and reducing emissions, but on a time frame that the general public will accept, and which can be supported by the required infrastructure. Ramming EVs down people's throats in less than a decade, as is happening now, is the best way just to piss people off. They will dig their heels in harder and oppose these mandates more and more. So auto manufacturers who continue to make the products that people want have an opportunity to make an absolute killing. At the same time as some very short-sighted auto manufacturers are shutting down their internal combustion engine production lines, others like Toyota, Mazda and Subaru will be able to capitalize on those other companies' lack of vision by continuing to develop and build better and better combustion engines to power the cars people will continue to buy for decades to come. Because whether you like it or not, the internal combustion engine will be around for a long, long time. Unlike, I regret to say, some of those auto manufacturers who have foolishly jumped the gun in the race to electrification.